The views expressed in the following show are for entertainment purposes only. They are not necessarily the views of Twin Galaxies, HD Films, or any other affiliates.
Excellent. Welcome to a very special episode of Settle on the Screen, live via satellite from my hollowed-out volcano lair. My name is Don Atreides. Our normal hosts of Mike Soroka, Nick Houselander, and Glenn Updike are not available due to mysterious circumstances. My alibi for the evening is Mr. William McAvoy, also known as Datagod, also known as Bill McAvoy, also known as anything else? Is that it? Is that all of them?
No, that covers all the bases.
Excellent. If we'll make up some more throughout the show. Before we go any further, let me just say that the views expressed on the show are just our views. They are not necessarily the views of HD Films, Twin Galaxies, any affiliates. So if you try to sue them, it's not going to work. You're going to have to sue us directly. So for all of our opinions, which we have many of. So without further ado, let us get to the highest score. So Neostorm, if you could show Mr. Mike Soroka and Nick Houselander have pre-recorded for us before they ran off to Hockeyland. So go ahead and run that for us if you would, Neostorm.
And you're out. I'll count you guys in when it's done.
All right, thank you. Great.
You have about 5 minutes.
Excellent. Take a break. I was a little bit stuttery, I thought.
No, not at all. I thought you're great.
We'll smooth it out.
Beer helps.
Diet Coke for me. I'm not a beer guy, but hey, go crazy.
So, of course, as you were giving the introduction, I heard the door behind my screen here open up, and my wife is trying to get my attention, so I'm having trouble. Because I just stone cold stared at the camera. Please don't interrupt. Don't interrupt.
Why aren't you listening, Bill? I thought you loved me.
So you see my lovely data center behind me here, all my screens?
It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, I'm surprised you're not more bundled up in the subarctic.
It's hot in the room here, so this is why we're in Antarctica, for all the cooling benefits. So there's a lot of heat being pumped up from the machines.
Air conditioning not a problem there.
Wow, you have the god of internet then right now.
Yes,
that's
exactly. Being in Antarctica, from a hollowed-out volcano.
This is where we
later. It's also
this is one of our mines here. We manufacture the internet signals down here. That's why it's so clean.
Is my voice box okay? Just want to make sure.
Yep. Oh. So they're still going. I should be probably paying attention to the scores so that we can talk about them if there's anything interesting coming up. Oh, another Android. Android score, that's excellent. Actually, I want to get some pictures ready for Mr. McAvoy. Did I say that right?
Oh, but yeah, McAvoy.
McAvoy,
that's fine. Now, what are these pictures of? Or no, you surprised me. Then I can just react.
There you go.
So it doesn't look planned.
They're all pictures of me. It's unrelated, actually, to the interview. I just wanted to, some nice pictures of me, some flattering David Hasselhoff poses, that kind of thing.
So you've seen the whole video that Mike is playing here, right?
Nope, I sure haven't. I meant to watch it, and then I forgot to watch it, and then, I have no idea.
So SSD Ninja, or is it Stark Crit? Is one of the I confuse those two. Jesse Porter, here he is. He's winning. There we go. Look at that. he wins a Wingstop
Check
gift
it.
card.
Oh, nice.
So Mike sent me that earlier yesterday to review, and I thought it was pretty funny. I think Rudy gets that joke.
I get it. I know that one.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Check it.
Now, can you hear
So
these guys talking?
Didn't Nick have a beard? What happened to Nick's beard?
I
Nick
don't
had
know.
a beard?
Nick, didn't he have a beard? He had like something going on, like a goatee or something.
I check in.
Man, they're going hardcore on that Wingstop thing, man.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Oh, they're doing the pitch for King on 94. I'm glad they did, because I don't know the details and I wanted to pitch for it.
So it's in Toronto next, or on the 23rd, I think. So
23rd so in like 2 weeks.
yeah, I believe so.
There's less than 20 days, if I'm not mistaken, for the Twin Galaxies Festival.
Yeah, it starts on the October 2nd.
October 2nd.
Now we can't forget about the poor people in the chat room.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll bring him in.
We'll check in.
Are you going to the festival, Don?
Oh yeah, I will be there.
Excellent.
I will be there, competing hardcore.
Good.
I'm an NES guy, so I'll be doing the NES tournament.
Right on. So you and Rudy will be head to head.
Yes.
Could come down to us too.
A battle of the giants.
I got my money on Rudy. I always cheer for the underdog.
Wah, wah, wah.
He knows I love him.
Yeah.
You know, he made Dream Phone, by the way, just so you know.
He made what?
It's a secret, but he made Dream Phone.
Dream Phone.
Yeah, he made the board game Dream
don't,
Phone.
Don't even ask.
All right.
I'll show you later.
All right. So I think we're back soon. Are we back? I can't see myself.
Yeah, it was the most hilarious thing ever.
Yeah, Barra, he can't hear you because he's pre-recorded, buddy. Oh well. Are we back? Can anyone tell us if we're back? I can't see. We're black.
They're saying the screen's black.
Well, that's not good.
What is happening?
Mr. Neostorm.
All right, guys. You guys are going to be back in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello and welcome back. Hopefully, I think that we're back in. I can't see myself. There's a delay. We temporarily got sucked into a black hole due to relativity and all that stuff, switching between the live feed and the pre-recorded feed. These things happen. It's physics. It's just science. That's what it is. So. I have Mr. Bill McAvoy with me here, also known as Datagod. Most people know him as Datagod. And I'm very pleased about that because he is a guy that I find very interesting. He lives in Subarctica. Yeah, that's right, Bill. You are interesting to me. I think in part I like photography, and I'll get into that. But first, Bill, tell us a little bit about yourself, what it's like living in the Arctic, and anything else you'd like to say.
Well, it's cold, and I'm not in Subarctic all the time. So, I'm a contractor, so I travel for the government doing things. I picked up photography 20 years ago. Yeah, sure. So I picked up photography. Photography's a hobby. I use it as a way to travel. I use it as a way to get into places. When you carry a camera, it's almost like a shield. And people, if you act with a particular presence, and you can get in and take pictures of things maybe you weren't supposed to be there. So I take photos professionally for races, running races. There's a lot of marathons here in Canada that I do that, and that pays for all my equipment. The past year or so, I've gone hardcore taking photos of arcades. So I've been traveling all across the USA. I've been from coast to coast. Richie Knuckles Arcade. I've been to John Salter's Arcade, Carrie Cheney's, the Banning in California. I was in Jace Hall's private studio. So I was very happy and very privileged to be able to do that. And I really enjoy sharing my photos. I was at the Kong Off 3 and the Kong Off 4 as well. So I think I do a pretty decent job with my photos, and I love sharing them on Facebook. And if you see me at one of these events, I'll usually have a case full of them, hopefully for sale. Not very expensive, right? I got to legitimize my travel expenses, so that's one way that I do it. So if you want to get a signed photo, like I did the group photo in, oh yeah, that's a good picture. Yeah, that's me. So that's at one of the races in Ottawa. So one of the viewers or the attendees took my photo. That photo is from Banning, California. So Billy Mitchell and Joel West, or as I call them, Billy Joel, they were giving me the thumbs up. And if you notice in that photo, Joel West's thumb is even higher than Billy. I told Joel that. I said, if you want to be more important than Billy, you got to lift your thumb higher. So you'll notice he does that a lot.
And Billy
told
guy,
me his secret is
that's not easy.
He's very tall. And Billy has a secret too. He likes to stand closer to the camera than everyone else. He waits for everyone to be lined up, and then he'll step half a foot or 2 feet, whatever, closer to the camera to look even bigger. So he's not as big as he appears. So it's a cool technique he uses. This was, I can't remember where that one was taken.
I just chose random. I just picked pictures that I liked, and I was like, these are fun.
Yeah, so there's Eric Tesler and Dave Danzera, and I don't know the gentleman with the gang sign there. This must have been Carrie Cheney's Arcade, I believe. So, like I said, I love traveling and I love going to the arcades. I find the color is beautiful that comes off the machines. I prefer black and white, but I've been flip-flopping back and forth when it comes to photographing actual arcade machines, because I don't think I do them justice by putting them in black and white, because the glow of the machine is quite attractive.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And that's
a lot of black and white
me in a nutshell.
Arcades anyway. Yeah, that's awesome. I really love the photography that you do. I think it's really important as a historical sort of record of video arcades, which and the culture and everything. I think that that's something I wish there was more of in the past, in the 80s and even in the 90s. I wish there was more of that. So I'm a little sad about that, but it's great to see you doing all this stuff. Let me throw
I'm very happy to do it.
So, do you want to talk about this one?
Sure. This one was turned out. This one was a fluke. I flew to Ottumwa, Iowa, because they had the Icon event. That's Walter Day's. There's an art gallery in Fairfield, and he was showcasing all his art that he does, all the trading cards and posters. And they were going to they planned to have a group photo, a recreation. But the photographer that they had, he couldn't make it that day or something like that, or he bailed out. So I brought all my camera gear anyway, because I wanted to be the one to take the photo. So I was in the right time at the right place. I was prepared. Walter set up that whole shot. He's like a maestro. So he got everybody organized, all the cheerleaders, everything. Carrie Cheney brought those, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 machines. And those are the machines that were in the original photo in Time Life magazine, 1981, I believe. It was a year in review. And Walter Day and the very first competitive video game players ever, like they were professionally the professional team, I guess, Team USA, they were there and they took a photo. So this was a recreation of that. So they had the exact same games, and then a lot of the people that were in the original photo were there, as well as their families, and then friends, and of course, my favorite, one of the original cheerleaders, was in this photo as well. So that was pretty cool.
Really?
And,
I did not know. Which one?
Oh, her name is. Oh, it slips my mind. Oh, she's right beside Walter in the photo. I can't see it. It's pretty small right now.
Yeah, it's kind of tiny from there. Oh, is she right behind in blue?
Yes. She's wearing a blue T-shirt there.
So,
yeah, so she comes out to those events.
I've already told Bill that I really want him to bring some copies of this photo for sale at Banning, California in October, so that I can buy one and have some people sign them. Because, of course, Walter Day is going to be there. Billy Mitchell's going to be there. So I'm hoping that now you kind of have to. So if you weren't going to, you do now.
Oh, I definitely will. Where I was getting printed on online, their servers got hacked, so they were shut down all summer long. So they're back online now. I can get my stuff printed again and bring items with me. I was going to bring a whole pile to the Kong Off 4 because I drove to it, so I could have just filled my trunk with photos, but I wasn't able to print them in time. But I'll definitely bring photos, and all the people there, they carry, the celebrities, they carry markers to sign things. So you just, here, can you please sign this? Or I can even get them to pre-sign them if I see them at the table signing. So it's all in good fun, and it's awesome. Good time.
So you're also the editor-in-chief, I'm going to say, of Arcade Magazine. Arcade Magazine. Yes. I'm sorry, Arcade Culture Magazine.
Arcade Culture Magazine, right?
Arcade Culture Magazine,
yep,
which is a sort of a satire. I'm going to close my... there we go. Okay. Just some representative ones. I love Arcade Culture Magazine because, one, I read it cover to cover, which is rare for me with the magazine, and just obviously the photography I think is very clever. So how did you get started with Arcade Culture Magazine?
Well, Richie Knuckles has a show on sporadically now, but he was doing it every week, say 3 or 4 years ago, called Arcade Culture. And it was like a 2 or 3 or 4 hour show, depending on how many people he had on. And it was broadcast out of his arcade in Flemington, New Jersey. And I was one of the original viewers, right from the very beginning. I think I started with episode 3. And then I thought, wouldn't it be neat if there was a fake magazine called Arcade Culture? So I put myself on the magazine and I sent it to him, and he loved it, and he showed it on the screen. And I thought, wow, I'm famous. It was silly, but it felt really cool to be appearing on, to me, the new age of entertainment is interactive video, which is exactly what we're doing. We have people in the chat room here. We're talking to each other. We're spread around. This is live. This is incredible. So I started doing a cover, and Richie loved it. He put it on his iPad. He goes, look at this, and he was all happy. So I started doing a couple with just, poking around on Facebook, seeing pictures of people that I knew, and I would throw them on there. And then once I started getting into the photography myself, I had a lot more material to work with. So, there's Alan Stahl. He was at the Kong Off 3 when I met him. And so I love picking on him. And I'm not sure about that cover, but one of them, I said he was found a year later chained to a machine in a sweatshop, right? He couldn't escape.
Yeah.
That's where
that
things like that. And what I like doing is the little green box on the right-hand side, usually in the magazine, that says page 6, and there's something goofy like, sweat-proof marathon pants or sweat-proof ties, things like that. Just silly stuff.
And just for clarity, so everyone knows, there is no page 6. It's Arcade Culture Magazine is one page. The cover, that's it. That's all there is to it.
So page 6 is just a joke. Everything's a running joke. You'll see, the audience is drinking. What does that even mean, right? Because that comes from the audience is listening, right? No, the audience is drinking, right? You got to be drunk to really appreciate the humor.
Much more apropos, I think, That's awesome.
So I have probably about 65 different covers I've done so far. Some really funny, right? Some are hit and miss. Some cause, the apocalypse to happen. Like I'm sure, as one of our guests in the show here, I'd put Rudy on the cover, right? Because he got a high score. He broke Splatterhouse, and I threw him on there. And I had 1,000 people sending me nasty voicemails and Facebook hate mail, everything, demanding that I shut down the company and demanding that all of our sponsors don't. There's no sponsors. It's not a real company. It's just me going around in Photoshop. So it was ridiculous. So I turned it off for a while, but then I put it back on. I remember that cover,
and I thought it was hilarious. So I hope, I don't know, people are always going to get upset about something. And actually, we're going to talk about Dig Dug and people getting upset. So there's always opinions everywhere. So I don't know. I think to some extent that's a mark of success. If you're not pissing someone off, then you're probably doing enough or doing it right. So, but that's awesome.
So I refer to that as Rudygate. It was such a scandal in my past. Rudygate.
Excellent. One of many to our famed Skype number 4, Rudy J. Ferretti. So actually on the topic of Dig Dug, and this is something that's was contentious with Corey Chambers and his record on Super Punch-Out. Now we're talking about an arcade classic, which is Dig Dug. The record in question is Donald Hayes, who posted a 5.4 million score in Dig Dug on a marathon. He posted not the entire video. So just for clarity, so people know, if you're not familiar with the controversy that's been going on, Donald Hayes posted not the entire video. He left out a big chunk of the video and wanted to get it to see if he could get it through anyway. Ultimately, it was rejected. It was actually today, I think, that it was rejected, or last night. So it did not pass.
Oh, it really
through.
was? Okay, good.
Yeah, it finally was rejected. And but I'm curious now. I think everyone knows how I feel about it. I'm curious what everyone else feels about it. If you guys in the chat have opinions, please feel free to voice them. I'm very interested in what everyone else thinks. Drama Thread 2015 says SSD Ninja, aka Joe Jakmovich. It is very drama. You know what though? I think to some extent, drama is inherent in what we do. If you are going to be competitive in anything, video games or anything, I think competition brings in strong personalities. I think that's just the nature of competition. So you're always going to get this kind of conflict, always going to get these kinds of dramas. And I think in general, we as a community do a pretty good job of keeping that down. I mean, there are exceptions, but I feel like we do a pretty good job. What do you guys think? Would you agree? Are we just a bunch of whiny girls? What's going on? No offense to girls.
I think that it goes both ways. I think what's only fair for everybody, that all the adjudications of each scores are going to be totally equal. It shouldn't be favoritism or because we like somebody or we trust somebody more than the other. We got to go by the evidence, and the evidence package is really what matters. And the problem is we're not always going by the evidence package. Some people are not voting for people because they don't like them, or they're abstaining and stuff like that. As far as Donald Hayes goes, I know he's a great gamer, but since he did not provide the proper evidence package, I would vote reject. That has nothing to do with personality. It has nothing to do with not me liking him or disliking him. I'm going by proper rules. It would be the same for me. As much as I could be trusted because I've proven myself live, if I don't put the proper evidence package, I should be rejected. Plain and simple.
I totally agree. What do you think, Bill? Oh, sorry.
Well,
I got him
when I was...
Sorry.
No. Somebody's mic is on. Rudy, you're going to have to mute yourself.
Oh, yeah. Can you mute yourself again, Mike? Rudy.
Cool. So, I'm a very competitive person, but I don't put my focus in video games. I love playing them, and I love arcade machines. So I understand the competitive world. There's different areas in my life where I'm highly competitive in. So what I think is that when someone wants the first place record, or when they want world recognition in this modern age, you have to be public about it. There's no more, well, you're my friend, I trust you, you're beyond reproach. It doesn't cut it. It's not about being friends or trusting someone. It's about having a system that gets respected. And the system we have that we've collectively, it's still in beta, right? We're still in beta mode, but as a community, we've decided we want to see the full gameplay. Now, does that mean it has to be an INP and it has to be fully recorded? No, it can be one or the other, depending if you're doing MAME or arcade or whatever. But we've decided you can't black out part of the screen. You can't hide your technique. You have to show it. And I voted. I like Don. I meet him all the time at every event I go to. There's Don playing, and he's kicking butt, and he's getting major scores. He's a true champion. So I was a little disappointed that he would try to do that. It was almost as if someone was either setting him up to do that or encouraging him to poke at the new system. I don't understand, but I'm glad it was rejected. I voted that it was rejected. He should just, if he wants to take the top spot, he has to show his entire technique. And that goes for Lexmark or anyone out there who claims to be the world best at anything. If you can't prove it, you're not the world's best, period.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Is there anyone who disagrees with that position currently in the chat or anywhere in the world?
I don't disagree with it, but I will say this. I think that also goes back to something that we're going to open up later, obviously, the challenge of scores. I really feel that there's a lot of people over the years that didn't prove what they could do. And I'm not talking about the ones that, have videos out there. I'm talking about people that have never done a video, have never come forward with anything they've ever done, and then they bash our new system. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say any names, but certain people have bashed the new system, and they disappear like they never existed. It makes me question every single score they've ever submitted into the database.
Well, that brings up a good point, which is the system to challenge records is not operational yet. We don't know when that's going to be. We all know that there are bad records in there. Generally speaking, I don't think they're malicious. I think it's due to typos and just confusion. And I know there were a lot of turnovers of TG changing hands. There's a lot of stuff. I won't even get started on that. But we all know that there are records in there that need to be reviewed, and
Right.
I'm hoping that happens soon.
Yeah, me too. You're absolutely right. And you're right. It doesn't even matter anymore about mentioning names or who did what. We know, we all know, the people that understand what's going on know what happened. And the bottom line is we need to resolve the issue. And if it's going to be up to the community, then we need to have that option in order to make that successful, because we can't have that in the scoreboard and be taken seriously. We just can't.
Right. I think it discredits the scoreboard to some extent. And as I've always said, the primary purpose of the scoreboard and its value to anybody is its accuracy and its ability to not be impugned for any reason. That's my opinion. That's why Twin Galaxies is kind of the gold standard, I like to think, and why they have the association with Guinness, et cetera, I won't bore you guys with all that. But let me read some comments from the chat. Zazcag.
Read Zazcag. Yeah, excellent.
He says, Don, referring, of course, to not me, Don, but Donald Hayes, is doing this to keep other Dig Dug players on their toes. He also said, let me see if I can find it. Go ahead and read it if you find it.
Okay, I'll scroll up. He had asked Don submit it off to a ref offline. So my comments to that: first of all, there are no refs.
Right.
So there's no secret way that a referee can review what Don's doing and say, yes, I speak on behalf of the entire community. Yes, this is valid. Because let's be honest, it has to be above the appearance of impropriety and whatever, the word. I can't pronounce it. Thank you. So that would not be above reproach. That is, completely, that's the old system. The old system had problems, and the old system was slow. Let's face it, they didn't adjudicate 1,000 games a month or more, right? I mean, there was people volunteering their time, reviewing tapes, reviewing play. People are susceptible to being friends and or not cheating, but you know what I mean. I mean, there's possibilities of collusion, or I just don't like someone, so I'm not gonna.
Like, there are a lot of rules that say. I'm sorry. There are a lot of rules that say like no excessive leaching. Well, what does that mean, right? So there's a lot of gray areas there that some people would say yes, and some people would say no. Hence the public adjudication system.
Right. So currently there are no refs. We are all collectively the adjudicators, or we are all collectively refs. We get to review the games that we want to. Hopefully it's the ones that we are, proficient in ourselves. We understand what's going on, and we get to vote. We get to explain. We get to debate. And, there's a week or two period, and then the system decides if votes have been cast, and it lets us know what the final verdict is. And nothing's totally final because there is an appeal process. It might not be enabled right now, but, given enough time and resources, I'm sure Jace and the powers that be will enable that for all of us in the future.
And an edit button, hopefully, too, where we could, fix our issues before we submit or even after we submit, so we can, retype something or fix an error that is done by the system itself. I mean, it needs to be done eventually, regardless.
And we're still in beta. GGA Han, Pete Han, let me read his comment, if I may. Sorry, I agree the Dig Dug score should have been rejected. If it was anyone other than Don Hayes that submitted it, would there have even been any debate? And I think that's a really good point. And he suggests maybe all submissions should not say who submitted it, so that everyone can see it without bias, which I think is a little extreme, but an interesting idea.
Yeah, but then how are you going to know where that score goes to and who actually did it afterwards to put it into the database?
Right. No, I think he's saying like just hide it during the adjudication process, but then.
Oh, I see. That's not a bad idea, actually. That's actually a pretty good idea. I like that.
Now, having said that, Rudy, you tag all your videos. I can see Rudy J. Ferretti in all of them, so we would know that there's Rudy J. I'm just kidding now, but yeah, that's an interesting suggestion.
Well, I could always camouflage them. I mean, that's not a problem, but.
And Mr. Barra from New Zealand has an excellent point, which is people would not be able to then post additional evidence in their own thread. So basically, if I post in the thread, oh, here's some additional evidence, well, you immediately know that it's my score, right?
Right.
So it's an interesting idea, but I think that the core of the idea, which is we shouldn't take into account the person who is submitting. I'm not sure we shouldn't take them into account, but it should not be so. Okay, as an extreme example, if Mike Gerard posts a punch-out score, my level of evidence is going to be a little higher, right? Versus if, say, Rudy or Bill or Mike Soroka or someone, somebody I know posts a score. I'm not saying the evidence should be lower for them, but I'm more willing to give them the benefit of the doubt in a gray area. And I think that's what it is. It's not a black and white rule. And I think a lot of people have difficulty with it because of that, which is why I'm heavily into guidelines. But I won't digress into that.
Well, there's still the entertainment value as well. Imagine if you were watching the Olympics and everyone was wearing a mask and you didn't know what country they were from. It was you're just looking at people jumping and doing things, right? So I'm not saying that Twin Galaxies is at the right, exactly. So we're not at the Olympic level yet. I mean, as worldwide audience, but the potential's there, and they're still in our microcosm, community that we are in. I like watching certain people's videos because I like them and I'm cheering for them. Doesn't mean I'm going to vote for them. I will reject them just as if they make a mistake, because my reputation's on the line. That's the other thing I like about the system. Right. I made a couple judgment calls and I was wrong. I lost like 300 or 400 points. That hurt. So I'm a lot more careful now.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, that'll be a good subject too, Datagod, for when we talk about banning here in a few minutes, about what it could bring to the table down the road for all of us if done right and everything. But we'll get into that in a few minutes.
Yeah, let's talk about that when we talk about the tournament and banning. But yeah, that's an interesting topic. So before we can move on. It's about 9. We got about 30 minutes left. Not quite. Does anyone else have anything they wanted to say about the Dig Dug 2 controversy, as it were, or the Corey Chambers one before it, or anything like that? I'm rolling up my sleeves in case anyone disagrees, so I can punch, I guess. I don't know.
I'm going to leave Dig Dug until we talk about banning, so I will have something to say about it. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. It'll explain the difference between consoles and arcades, so I'll leave it for that.
Okay. Although I did like, and people talking in the chat, I really did like Bill Ninja Olympics, that was your brainchild accidentally, but I really like that. I think we should have that. I think Japan may win that one. And just you
don't even know the country.
Volleyball,
it's just
right.
Everyone wears a gray unitard and a mask, and
And I really don't care who wins as long as they're like ninjas fighting. Who cares who wins, right?
Right. Now, Don, Aaron LaBerge has signed in. He's on TG Live 5.
Excellent.
He doesn't have video, though. So Can you hear us, Aaron?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
You're loud and clear. So Don, would you like to ask Aaron some questions? Is this a good time?
Yeah, so, Jen, perfect time for it, actually, because I'd like to save the contest for last because it's going to be a lengthy topic. So, Mr. Aaron, and what's your last name, Mr. Aaron?
It's LaBerge.
LaBerge. That's I like that name. It's a very nice name.
It's French, yeah.
It's French.
It's French for the barge.
LaBerge?
What's that, sorry? The Bay, I think. Something like that. Yeah.
LaBerge.
I don't worry about meaning too much.
I don't know. Sorry. My French is terrible. So,
mine too, so don't worry about it.
You are a denizen, I'm going to say, the Galloping Ghost Arcade, which is a very famous video arcade, located in, what city is it in?
Chicago. I don't go to Galloping Ghost. I'm just very familiar with the people that run it and a lot of the guys that are regulars there.
But
Galloping Ghost itself, I don't go to.
You collect arcade machines.
Yes, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
Bill tells me you have about 4 of them. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So what do you have, if you don't mind my asking?
I don't mind. I've got a Sinistar cab.
Tell us
that's
now.
A Sinistar that's mostly restored. It's got a J-Rock board in it right now. I want to get an original board, but when I bought it, it was wasn't really clear to me that it was a J-Rock. I found out after it's like a multi. It's not a J-Rock. It's like a multi-Williams. Bill knows all about it, and I've talked about it before.
I will trade. I will
for
trade
people who
you
don't
an
know.
authentic. I want that J-Rock board.
You can't have it.
J-Rock is awesome. It's better than the original.
So explain what J-Rock is, so people who don't know.
It's like a custom board, right? So it's I don't even want to say it's like a repro. It just gives you the multi-Williams that I have right now. That board specifically lets me play essentially any Williams game. Well, within reason, pretty much any of the Williams games. There's a bunch that are included on there. There's Bubbles and I think Defender and a few other ones, Robotron. The thing is the cabinet's set up right now. It's like an original Sinistar cabinet. So, and I've got everything set up for Sinistar. It's got the CP and everything's set up there. So I don't really want to mess around with it. Bill's constantly saying like, you should play this, you should play that, but I don't really want to mess with it because I bought it as a Sinistar machine. I fully intend on getting. I'm kind of a huge Williams fanboy, so I want to get all the Williams games. I want to get Robotron next, and I also like to get
Robotron.
Defender and Stargate. Yeah, I think they're beautiful machines, and the art and the colors and everything is really nice. So I want to get all of them. So right now this is just like my dedicated Sinistar. Maybe at some point it'll be something else, but for now it's just Sinistar. So I don't even make use of it. So Bill's always constantly trying to get me to sell it to him and give him my board and get. It's not gonna happen.
So, let me ask just briefly, and then we'll go back.
It will happen.
Are you going to be at Banning, California in October?
I wish I could go, but I can't because in November, with a friend of ours and Bill's, James Cameron, we're going to Fun Spot in New Hampshire for, I believe Rob Murchek has like a yearly getaway there, but I'm just going with my friend James so we can go after some records. And I can hopefully take back my record from Robbie Lakeman.
I was asking, because of course the Classic Arcade tournament in Banning, I thought maybe you might be in there, but I'm sorry. So you have Sinistar.
I think I'm going to give you a present to bring Robert.
I'd love to
behave, Rudy.
I'd love to go to the Banning. I'd love to go to the Banning tournament. Bill has constantly invited me. He's pretty much tried to get me to not go to any other tournaments I'm going to go to Banning. But as it is, I just don't have enough vacation time to spread around. So this year it's going to be for sure. It's going to be for sure this trip. But then next year it's opening up. I'm looking at hopefully going to the Ghost and maybe potentially a Banning event, depending on what's going on. But I'd love to go to Banning to meet everybody for sure.
Looks awesome. Looks awesome. So
you have Sinistar? There, Kate? Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. So Sinistar, I've also got a 4-slot Neo Geo machine that I got for an absolute steal.
Nice.
I got that from a guy in Toronto. He sold it to me super cheap. He gave me a bunch of games and everything. It was great. I got actually one of those carts that has, I think, 100 and something games in one. So it's really, really convenient to have that. I don't have to swap out between systems and everything. And the guy even jerry-rigged an extra coin slot on it. So it's really, really, really easy. I love it. The only thing that is not great about it is the CPO was like redone with some weird metal. I'm kind of a purist. I like the art to be original. So I will be redoing it eventually.
Nice.
In addition to that, I have 2 small custom cabinets. They're not actually legitimate arcade machines. They're custom-built arcade machines. I have one, which is a bar-top arcade that my friend James Cameron built for me, and he does amazing work.
I think I've seen
I custom
this stuff.
designed. Yeah, you might have seen it before. I've posted it on some TG groups and various things. But it's really beautiful. He put it together an amazing machine. It's a 2-player. It's got everything you need on it, and we've basically loaded it with every MAME. Like it's got MAME in like every game imaginable from the Internet Archives. So I use that to practice. That's my practice machine. And then I've got a little mini tabletop that's kind of old and crappy. It's not really a good one. The next one I'm trying to get my hands on right now is I've been trying to make a deal off and on with this guy for a Robotron machine, but you know how it is with making deals online. It's kind of sketchy. Sometimes you contact people and it goes back and forth. So I'm really, really trying to get the Williams machines though. And I've also been trying to get my hands on a deluxe Space Invader, but that's also really hard because the guy wants a lot of money for it. So.
Oh, sure. Yeah. They get pricey. They're I've been eyeing a pinball table and they're just crazy expensive sometimes. So, yeah, it's just it's hard. I I don't have any arcade machines myself. I know, Bill, you have some, right, in your home?
I have 3 so far. I have a Space Invaders, a Taito version. It's beautiful artwork. The thing is in great condition. I have a Buster Brothers that has a suicide chip that committed suicide, so I need to swap that out. It was an anti-piracy thing that. Well, there you go. So, I also have a Superman. I picked up Superman. I believe that's a Taito game as well. So it's. I'm very happy with them. But I want more, and I only bought those because they're available in my hometown. I'm looking for Robotron. That's the one, and 1943.
Bill, you like there's a game that's similar to Robotron that you've submitted scores on. I can't remember what it's called, or at least in my mind, it's similar to Robotron in the look and the feel of it.
I played Zookeeper. I submitted scores for Zookeeper and 1943.
Nova is probably what he's talking about.
Oh, no, Nova 2001. Oh yeah,
Nova. Okay, that's it.
Yep, that's a great game. It's
really a great game. I love it.
I think my score is number 2. I think.
Number
1. I can do it, but like I said, I don't put the time in, and I put my efforts elsewhere. But I have a question for Aaron. Aaron, can you explain to the listeners why you like going to the tournament at FunSpot? What's special about FunSpot? Is it the quality of the machine?
Absolutely. It's honestly a whole bunch of things. I really couldn't possibly encourage people more to go to these tournaments, because the single best part about the arcade scene really is the community. And there's lots of detractors out there, and we all know who those people are. I'm sure Rudy especially knows who those people are. There's a lot of detractors out there, and we're not going to talk about it, but there's people that'll say a lot of bad things about the scene, but I can say with 100% honesty and sincerity that those people are completely wrong. I've never been to an arcade tournament where people haven't been amazing and super friendly. We come from Canada. We drive all the way up to the U.S. Everybody there that meets us is incredibly nice. Everybody is super welcoming, friendly. Guys will show you anything you want to know. Right off the bat, when I went to the tournaments, I went with Bill and my friend James. I got introduced to all kinds of people. Anybody in the classic arcade scene, a lot of well-known guys. I've met Don. I've met everybody. Robbie Lakeman now, who's the Donkey Kong champ. He and I are great friends, and I actually met him at the FunSpot tournament. We're now great friends. I talk to Robbie like every other day on Facebook. I met a bunch of other great guys there, including the guys from Galloping Ghost, the Chicago guys. I met a bunch of those guys there. So really, it's meeting people, actually. And there's only a few people that I haven't met in the scene that are really well known, like Jace and a few other guys that I'd love to get to meet, which is going to be why I have to go to Banning.
Come to Banning. That's perfect.
Yeah,
I know.
Banning. That's where you need to be.
Yeah, because I know, and Rudy's been telling me I need to go to Banning too, because he knows that we can hang out and say hi there and that kind of thing. But honestly, it's 100%. The community is amazing. Everybody loves the community. I met like I said, the Galloping Ghost guys, GGA. They're fantastic. I love all those guys. We've hung out with them every time we're there. I met a bunch of people. So not only that, but Twin Galaxies itself doesn't have much of a presence there at the tournament FunSpot. However, there still is a presence for scorekeeping there with Orcade, which they do a great job. The Orcade guys are really awesome. And generally speaking, the machines are super well maintained for the most part. There's always a few that are a little sketchy. Like, for example, my favorite game, the game that I actually had a world record on previously, Death Race. It's one of the few places that actually has working Death Race machine, and their Death Race machine is
machine there.
It's great when it's working. Sometimes it's not though, and it breaks pretty easily because people can be pretty rough on the machine. It's the type of game that's pretty intense.
You're in a death race. I mean, it's kind of understandable.
Absolutely,
it's a race to the death. I would. It's
I get really
into
Daisy.
it. I mean, that's not going to work, right?
The crowd that goes in November is very different than the crowd that goes in the summer. So you actually run into better people in November.
You know what's interesting about Banning coming up is I've been haunting the Facebook page in part because I want to know who I'm competing against because I'm a very competitive individual. But I've seen a lot of faces that I don't know, which I think is kind of awesome. Like Bill before this interview, of course, I've known him just from around, on Facebook or different groups in Twin Galaxies, and Rudy, of course, and just everybody, and Bera and all these guys in the chat, Pete Hahn. but there are a lot of names showing up that I've never seen, and so I'm very curious about what banning is going to be like. It's not a traditional, I would consider, arcade scene, right? So you're going to have Billy Mitchell there and Walter Day and a lot of, Todd Rogers, all those guys. But I think there's going to be a lot of fresh new faces. I'm hoping, and I think a younger generation as well is coming up. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out, especially in the arcade competition. I'm wondering, is it going to be all old timers? Are there going to be some young gunslingers in there trying to take a piece of the pie? I think it's going to be very interesting. What do you guys think?
Well, I'd like to start if I could. Basically, I think that this is going to really open up. This is one thing that me and Jace totally 100% have the same vision on. You can go look back in 2002 when I spoke about this. I think that we have the same exact vision on the future of professional gaming, and I think that showing that we can get paid up to $1,250 for winning a single little tournament like this, and if the right people show up and see it and we get enough viewers, it could grow to 10,000 next time, 100,000 after that. I think the sky is the limit, and I think that people need to realize that anything is possible with this industry. It doesn't matter how old or new the games are. If I can pull in 57,000 viewers for Jaws, you could pull in 1 million viewers for Tetris or something like that. Now, that may sound crazy, but when you look at other sports around the world, how do they pull in the views they get? How do they get the sponsorships? It all comes down to money, and if you know the right people and they get the money together, it could work. But
I think that, actually, on that note, look at the Twin Galaxies, Tetris Classic that takes place in Portland, Oregon. That's been a pretty big event for the last couple of years. It just keeps getting bigger as more and more people get into it. And also gaming in general, League of Legends, of course, all these big, more modern games even, very popular. So I think it's a growing industry, as Rudy was saying.
And they you gotta remember, the classics paved the way for everybody. A lot of people don't get that, and they say, well, where's the money going to come from? That's not our problem to figure out. Honestly, that's Jason, his sponsors' problem to figure out. We're the gamers. We deserve to be compensated and paid for what we do, and he knows that, and he agrees with that. And that's why I'm really excited about this. Regardless,
and actually, to that point, the prize money is pretty decent. I feel like
very
for
decent
California
for the first time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like roughly $2,000 per tournament, first, second, third.
Yeah, a little
versus $1,250, something like that. Yeah, it is really not a drop in the bucket. We're playing 30, 35-year-old games.
Exactly,
that's pretty decent money.
That's my point, and it shows that the classic gaming scene can still be marketed. What I like about this tournament, unlike what we do at home every day, it really doesn't matter what we do at our house, for 25, 30 minutes, 3 hours, right, when we practice. What matters is what we do in the postseason, which will be in Bannon.
Yeah.
And I think that with this type of tournament, what's going to happen is it's anybody's game that's good at what they do. It really doesn't matter what we're doing at home right now. I'm not going crazy practicing because I realize it's going to matter what I do there on that day. It doesn't matter what I do here at home. It's not going to matter. It's just like a team that practices. I could go in as the top seed or the last seed and win the whole thing. It's a matter of execution, luck, and then there's also what they call screw-overs, where you could execute perfectly but still lose. You know this. Every professional gamer knows this. Unlike the arcade scene, these guys have patterns. We're going to be playing games for 3 minutes. We're going to do whatever we want to do for 3 minutes. A lot of arcade gamers and modern gamers do not understand that, and they knock us for that.
And in defense of the arcade tournament, they're going to be doing decathlon too for 3 minutes at a clip. So it will be very interesting to see who can point press for 3 minutes on classic arcade games. I'm very interested. And we've been talking about classic arcade games. Obviously, Rudy and I are interested in the Nintendo competition, but there's also Intellivision and the Atari. And both of those, and actually that touches on one thing I wanted to see what people think about, which is the Atari and the Intellivision are going to be on flashback machines.
Right.
And the NES, at least for now, is believed to be on the Retron 5 due to video output issues. And I'm curious what you guys think about that. If you're in favor for it, if you think it's going to make a difference, is it worth the trade-off to get the video?
Some of these games, and I know this only because I own all the third-party systems, except the Retron 5. Mine hasn't come in yet, but I did order it. And make a long story short, I have the Retron 3, I have the Retron, the first Retron, and the Retron 2. Okay. Now, some of these games play just like the original. Some the sound is different, some the speed is a little bit different, and some the colors are a little bit different. That can change your game. So I do have some concerns about the third-party system, but from what I've seen with the Retron 5, it seems to be a pretty good replication of an original NES for that format. That does not mean, though, it's going to be, though, for all these games. But because we're playing on a level playing field, so basically we should call it neutral turf, as you would say in professional sports. So it really ain't going to matter. My only concern, though, is Arkanoid, and I really feel if Jace cannot provide Valve's controllers, we should be able to provide those of our own and share them with each other for the tournament, only because that type of game really needs a Valve's controller in order to succeed.
That's kind of minutes. Yeah. And if anyone doesn't know, Valve's is basically the paddle controller, like the paddle controller for the Atari would be.
Very rare.
I'd agree with Rudy on that.
Yeah.
It's pretty important to have unique or original controls, and that's pretty critical for something like Arkanoid. I love Arkanoid personally, so I
having
love
said
that.
that, though, the difficulty being because the Valve's controller is rare, people aren't going to be able to practice with it at home. So it's kind of a disadvantage to anyone who doesn't happen to have that rare. I mean, they'll have it at a tournament, but they can't really practice with it at home.
I know, but that's not something.
There's competitive gaming, though, right?
Right.
For an example, like what I was saying earlier with the death race thing, I basically have to go on the trip in November to even have a chance of setting a record in practice. I literally can't practice that game until I'm at the arcade, because it's not even you can't even emulate it. So that's part of this. And I constantly chide Robbie and make fun of Robbie and say the only reason he ever beat me in that record was because he lived there, so he could practice all the time. I can only play it for three or 4 days a year. So so that's part of competitive gaming, right? If you're a competitor like Rudy is and like everyone else that's going to be going, you're going to compete no matter what. And there may be a handicap, but if you have the ability, you'll have the ability regardless. I mean, you should be able to do it on the original controls.
About the Classic Arcade Tournament, which is Millipede, Centipede, and a few others that have the trackball, Missile Command. How are you going to practice that on an emulator? You can't really, or not easily anyway.
Right.
So I think that's one of the main reasons I'm not going to probably compete in the arcade tournament is, well, the first reason being I suck at arcade games in general. But the number two being that trackball, right? I'm just going to make a fool of myself.
Yeah, but for 3 minutes, you might be okay because that's what we do in our NES games, a lot of point pressing. So you might have a statistical advantage over some of these arcade gamers for 3 minutes. I feel that I do as well. Games like Dig Dug and Donkey Kong are very patternized. If we stay just on the first stage and just point press for 3 minutes, we might be able to really do some damage.
Oh, sure, yeah. Donkey Kong definitely. And Missile Command I'm pretty decent at, actually. I actually use a trackball at home. As my standard mouse, but I'm just afraid that's going to be very different in the arcade. But we'll see. I might compete anyway, even though I'm going to be terrible at it. But it's all about to get fun, except for the NES competition, which I'm out for blood. But other than that,
is there an entry fee?
There's no entry fee. You have to pay to go to the event
for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, you might as well. It's not going to hurt anything, except your pride, perhaps. That's
for the tournament in Fun Spot. There was a bunch of people there. The first year I went, and the year that I actually set my record there for Death Race, I remember there was a guy who was watching me, and he came up and said, like, "Oh, that's really cool. What are you guys doing?" And I explained what the tournament was and everything to him, and I said, "You should enter." And he said, "Well, I wouldn't enter. I would do poorly and whatever." And I said, like, "Listen, man, we're not going to judge you. It's not about that. You go and you have fun and you learn, and every year you go, everyone helps everyone else get better. So I can't even."
Hey guys, you have 25 seconds.
Sorry, I can't imagine the tournament banning is going to be any different. I imagine it's be a great experience. You should go regardless.
Right. Well, I just have concerns about the flashback.
15 seconds.
15 seconds. So I just want to say thanks to everybody for stopping by. Bill and Rudy and everybody who showed up, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us on this very special edition of Settle It on the Screen. And I hope to see everyone in banning.
Twin Galaxies.